Hi Mermaid Junkies, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Okay, so I have this particular format. Isn't this beautiful? This is right next to my house. It's like a big, huge park, and it's just, it doesn't even have like little kids stuff on it or anything. It's just a park that you would, full of nature. But I was so inspired. I have really been listening to Gary Vaynerchuk, and he has been like a sense, sort of like a mentor to me. And he was talking about this particular subject, and it really struck home with me. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm totally gonna do it. Like whatever Gary says, Raquel does, you know? Because, and I'll tell you exactly why. So he says that when you're going through, you know, your life, and say you have a particular story, like it's good to storytell, like to give your journey on the particular path that you're on, or whatever journey you're on, that you should document it. And so I thought, you know what, that is such a brilliant idea. And so this is two places that it stemmed from. Was that back several years ago, when you guys know that my story began, I mean, I literally say my story began when I left my marriage of 24 years and took 2 suitcases and moved across the country all by myself. I didn't have my kids with me or anything. And it was a very, very difficult decision that I made in my life. But how beautiful would that have been to have began my journey documenting everything, as far as like what it's like to not be like a victim. Absolutely not. That's not what I want to talk about. But I thought it would be beautiful to share my life with you guys, as far as like how it's been still continuing to this day, because it's only been a short, not even 3 years yet, that I began my life over, and I've been on this transformational tale, I like to call it. And so I thought it would be a lovely thing to do, is to document my life going through it, because especially as a woman that's I'm 46 years old. And so this began when I was 3 years ago, close to 3 years ago. So 44 is when I really felt it. And it would be a beautiful way for me to talk to other women my age, you know, that have children, or maybe that are struggling on their own to go out on their own, to feel like they can actually have that life to create a life that they truly love. And it can be daunting and overwhelming at times. And so, you know, there was a couple of years ago, probably around 2013, I actually wanted to, who would have known how my life would have transpired, but everything, timing is meant for everything in a particular way and space and all of that sort of thing. But I thought that it would have been cool to watch like a mermaid's journey, you know, or should I say a mermaid's voyage, of like how it is to try and reinvent herself after she has been a stay-at-home mother like myself. I was a stay-at-home mother for 24 years. And so I have no like legitimate you know, education. I mean, I do have lots of education. I have lots of life experience, but you know, most of my classes and my schooling and stuff took place online through certifications and doing things while my children were sleeping, and doing things when my kids were taking naps, or you know, that kind of thing. And so you really, when you come out of almost like a cocoon, so to speak, it could be overwhelming as to where to begin, especially if you need to be an entrepreneur. You need to take care of yourself. And I remember going to a couple of executives for like the History Channel, and saying, you know, this would be a beautiful experience to document, like not because I want to be a celebrity or reality star or anything like that, but I thought it would have been a beautiful thing for someone to watch to document their lives. And I'm like, okay, well, if no one's going to do it for me, I'm one of those kind of girls. Like, if there is a will, there is a way, and I will create that. And so when Gary said that on one of his podcasts, I was just like, yeah, exactly. No one's going to keep me from doing it. Like, reality TV doesn't want me. I have my own free reality TV right here. And so I thought, if you guys want to come along with me, that I'm very transparent. So I'll share, I'll try to share every day about things, and especially I'm still going to put content out on my YouTube channel because it's vital. I mean, my YouTube channel means so much to me. And so that will be more of a clear, precise, concise content. But I would love to chronologically do like a vlogging, and until I've seen vlogging on, you guys, how many times have we seen vlogging? I mean, I think that's where Carl Shay or Shay Carl or something, I think that's actually where he even started, was he was documenting his weight loss journey, and he would document every day. And so that's a beautiful thing. Now, the only thing that I hope to accomplish through doing this is it's going to give me a great amount of footage for my children, for other women, that will create a legacy through recognizing that, like, I literally started from scratch. This is not like, oh, she divorced her husband, and my ex at the time, I mean, we did live a very affluent life. And I will go through all of those different emotions and things like that of thinking, just the heartache of it, like feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get all, emotional and stuff. But like feeling like that you spent your entire life, you spent your entire adulthood since you were young, trying to help someone else live their dreams. And then when everything happened, and I wanted to know, like, are you going to somehow, I knew that he was taking the children, and he said that he would fight tooth and nail, like he would die before the children could come live with me. It was only, 6 months for my youngest son, Brooker, because he was almost 18 at that point, so he was moving out soon anyway. And then my daughter was going to turn 16, so she had the choice. And so it was a very difficult decision, even though I think so many times moms, I didn't intend to do this, all this crying stuff. Even though it's a very difficult thing for mothers to have to leave their children. But I knew that my ex, regardless of what our situation was, I knew that he didn't physically abuse my daughter, and he was very good with the children as far as like financially supporting them, so I knew that they would be okay that way. And I had nothing. And so when I asked, how are you going to give me alimony? Are you gonna, something for me to live, because I had spent 24 years, and then, including our dating lives, 30 years with this person. And I guess I still have a lot of internal hurt about that, is that I remember the last time I asked him, because I secretly got the airline ticket. My aunt volunteered to purchase it for me. And I remember asking when I was on a trip out there, like, are you going to like support me in some way, like any kind of money? I've been a stay-at-home mommy for all these years. I don't have a job or anything. And he said, why do you want my money? That's my money. I earned that money. And I just thought that was just so, you women, I don't know if you have ever experienced that, but like the hurt that feels like is that, that's why I always talk you guys about resentment and stuff, is because how much you feel like you've put into someone else, like you know, I always remember saying, oh, I'll live in a tent. We can live in a tent. I mean, I can make any place look good. We can live in government housing. I don't care, as long as you're waking up every day and you're living your dream and you love what you do and you love going into television and you know, being on the TV. You love all that. You love acting and all that kind of stuff. And until we get our feet on the ground, you know, I used to, you know, that's not to say he didn't work. Like, he was a hard worker. I will give him that credit. You know, he was a very hard worker. But I feel like a lot of times the biggest support behind a man, or even a woman, it could be vice versa, but for in my instance, is that, you know, we women, as women, sacrifice a lot, you know, to support our husbands and to support them in their dreams. And I just thought that after all of that, and our kids were finally, you know, we were going to be empty nesters soon and all that, I would have thought that my assumption, and I never did it for that reason, you know, I want my payback. I never did it for that reason. I just assumed that other people, especially the person that I had been with for so long, was like me. Like, of course, Raquel, I'll support you in your dreams. Whatever you want to do, let's do it. I'll work at this lower paying job or whatever so you can have your dreams, because I did that for him, right? So I'm thinking that was how it was perhaps going to work out, and that was not how it worked out for me at all. And so I just want to chronicle that particular part of my journey, and along my whole journey now, is that, you know, everything that I have learned so far about not, you know, my husband now, and he is my soulmate, my one true love, my twin flame. He is everything, but I would never ask him to support my dream. And it could be a hang up that I have, because I'm like, no, I'm going to do this myself. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't care that it happens. I know that I'm so super happy, like, regardless of what I look like now. Yeah, I'm super, super happy. I guess I just had all of these emotions bottled up, is that I realized that there's so much, you know, and that's the thing, you guys, is when you see so many people, especially online and social media and things of that nature, and you think, oh my gosh, what is wrong with them? They're horrible. They're so mean. Is that I'm a direct reflection of, like, the past 2 weeks, you know, 2 weeks prior to this video, that I was putting out video, that I was coming, you know, I was coming more into my own. I was becoming more transparent, because I knew that in order to shoot these videos every day for you guys, I can't be fake at all. I mean, at all. Like, I have to be able to say, oh, I'm going to lay that on the line. And obviously there's some parts and aspects of my life that I won't share, but it's not because it's because it's for me. And until I am through that healing process, you know, I mean, I'm giving everything of myself except for a few tidbit of things that that have been tough for me. And so, but other than that, I really want to share my journey with you, just because I think that if this happened to me, and I'm thinking there's a lot of women, especially with my YouTube channel, that I get so much email and so many messages, direct messages and things like that, that women that don't want to say who they are, or they don't want to like a picture on my fan page, or they don't want to comment on an Instagram picture, is because they're not ready yet. This is their particular journey, and they're not ready yet. Even though I know that they're struggling and they want to leave, I know that there's so many women out there like me that's starting from the ground up, like as an entrepreneur. Like, I want to create Mermaid Junkies across the United States. I want to have, you know, those schools everywhere. I want, you know, girls and young boys and women. I want to have workshops for women. I want, you know, I have so many dreams. I mean, like, but my dreams aren't like, I mean, to me, my dreams, they're massive. It's not like, I mean, like, it's like Steve Jobs on steroids, you know? And so, I don't know how it's going to happen. I just believe in the universe, and I believe in source, or whatever my higher being is, that, you know, whatever you guys associate that with. But I believe in the universe taking care of me, and the universe has always taken care of me. And it's just what I want to give to you guys, my viewers, as just a way to like not feel completely alone, or not feel like it can't be done, because it can be done. I'm still in the incubation stage, basically, of my entrepreneurship, because I'm literally, and that's not like playing victim to anything in any way, and it's not me being like, oh, feel sorry for Raquel, she doesn't have, you know, no, that's not what I'm doing this for. It's because I know that if I had this, I would feel a little less alone. That when I was doing this on my own, and like taking literally 2 suitcases, and that is all that I took to my name. That is it. That is it. 2 suitcases that were under 50 pounds, because, you know, when you go on an airplane, that's what you have. And that's when you start to realize the world has all these possessions. And no, that's not to say that I'm like, ooh, kumbaya, and I'm going to sit on a rock somewhere in India and have no desire for worldly possessions. That's totally not what I'm saying, because I love stuff. But I know where stuff has value to me, and where stuff doesn't have value. Right now, to me, a value is going to the Dollar Tree and finding a calendar, so that I can document all of my weekly posts, document all of my stuff, so I have it, everything is categorized and everything is organized. So or saying, you know what, oh, I have $20 from my Etsy because I sold a painting, so I'm gonna buy Facebook advertising. Okay, yeah, it's only $10, but it's $10, and that'll do something. You know, I believe that, because like when Gary talks about I'm going to meet him one day, by the way. That's on my vision board. Is that when he talks about, I think, the difference between people that are true worker bees, true people that are true entrepreneurs, you figure out a way to do stuff. You don't use the excuse. And this is honestly what you guys, I wanted to also talk about too, is that I realized before, when my dad, you guys know I've talked about my dad taking the truck back, because that was just paramount in my life, actually. But him being an ass was one of the best blessings he could have ever done for me, because it made me realize that I don't need anyone for anything. And when you can get to that point of such massive freedom in your mind, like, oh, I don't have this, or oh, I don't have that, I will figure out a way to get it. And no, I don't have a darling, cute little cobblestone cottage that I'm living in. I don't, you know, I'm putting all my money back. I mean, I'm a designer, and I know how to design a house. I know how to I know how to make, you know, something extraordinary out of nothing. Like, for literally, like, I redid my bathroom for $12. I legit mean, when I say you're gonna revamp a room or doing something like design wise, right? And I think you learn that from not having a lot. I mean, I didn't have a lot when I was young. Like, it was feast or famine in my house, right? My dad worked from sunup to sundown, never saw him. He was a very hard worker, and I will give him that. Just like my ex was, and my husband now, which it's funny because they're all Libras. Isn't that interesting? But very hard workers, but emotionally, no, I don't know my dad. And come to find out, I never really knew my ex-husband like I thought I did. You know, I mean, I know that I know people intuitively because I have an empathic spirit. But as far as like the things that I've learned in life, if that makes any sense. But yeah, you learn to figure out how to do things, and you learn that there is nothing that I cannot do. I don't know how I'm going to get my Mermaid Junkie Academy. I don't know how I'm going to get my freaking book published by Hay House, because it is by the Balboa Press, right? So it's a self-published book. I wrote the book in 2 hours, illustrated it in probably 2 weeks, okay? The book is sitting in my office ready to go to publishing. But I don't have $2,400, and I'm not asking anyone for it. I have celebrities in my phone. I could ask people for that money, right? But I'm not going to be that kind of person to where someone can say to me, the sun's starting to rise, but I have all these tears. I'm not, like, I'm saying that because I'm going to do this on my own. Like, I'm not going to have people, I'm not a victim. I'm not this pity party. I'm not this charity case. And I'm not going to ask my husband for the money. I mean, I could probably make things miserable in our lives, or, you know, hound him, or say, you need to come up with this money for me, you know, whatever. But no, I'm not doing it because I'm doing this. And if it takes me freaking 5 years before I can sell enough paintings to get that money, that's what I'm gonna freaking do, because I guarantee you the universe is gonna work things out for me. I don't know how, and that's not our job. We got to remember that when we have desires and goals and dreams, we just need to line our energy up with them. And the universe will allow, like, you'll be inspired to do this, or you'll be inspired to do that. And that's what I want to, like, reiterate for young moms, or moms that are my age, or maybe you're 50 years old, maybe you're 65, and you've been with your husband for 50 something years, and you want to now get a divorce because you want to live your own life, that you want to create a life that you truly love, that you're not miserable every day. And the only thing you look forward to is going to the beauty shop to get your hair fixed once a week, or getting your nails done, or, once a month or something like that. To me, and that might make someone really super happy, but to me, I want women to live their dreams. There is nothing that I want more is for women to live the life that they love, to create a life that you love. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is to make changes in your life, to do the things that your heart, just longs to do. That is what is so important. And so, like I said, I'm gonna chronicle every day. Like, some of the things that I was thinking about today was, like I said, I'm gonna go to the dollar store because I have a couple of bucks right in my wallet. And I'm going to get, like, one of those I might even go to Target because they kind of have cute little calendars too. So that I can have one of those little calendars to, like, write all of my blog posts and my my logbook, because I want to call this series, like, Mermaid Junkie Tales, but I also want to do it and use it like a logbook, like a sailor's logbook, like a chronological thing. And so I'll scale it, scale 1, scale 2, whatever. And so I think this will be beautiful, especially because when my kids, especially my daughter, will be a beautiful experience for her to be able to show grandkids or whatever, like, look, that's my grandmother, like, I just think that would be so super cool. And whoever else in the world is ever able to see this, I think it would be inspirational to them. And so thank you, Gary Vaynerchuk, for that beautiful little tidbit of information, because I think that is a beautiful thing. And I think, regardless, I had that idea years ago when I was like, oh, I think someone should do a reality show, kind of like create a show based on following these real life mermaids around and watching their lives unfold. Like, one could be, like, really into, saving marine life, and one could be and like, mine was going to be like, I'm not so much, I always thought I was never one to want to be on camera, and the only reason that I want to be on camera is not because I'd ever want to be like a Drew Barrymore, like on film or anything, but just to be able to share my message. That's what I get so excited about. And so, let's admit it, everyone wants to hear themselves, don't they? Most of the time, people like themselves, don't they? Or am I just an oddball and I'm just like, I think I'm the cat's meow, right? No, that took a long time coming for me to be able to say that about myself, but I do. I think I'm just a delight, But I want other woman in the world to feel that way too, and men too, but especially women, because I am a woman. So yeah, so I'm going to go to Target in the dollar section, and I'm going to get calendars because I really need that definitive, to look at every single day, because I am a Pisces, and so Pisces are very prone to be, so we're so, ethereal, and we're so all over the place. Like, the fish, they swim opposite. And so we have such a worldly, beautiful imagination. Pisces do. I mean, look at Albert Einstein. I mean, prime example of a Pisces, right? Steve Jobs, like, what a beautiful, beautiful brain, I'm sure there's more Pisces, Brendan Bouchard is a Pisces. Tony Robbins is a Pisces. I just think it's a beautiful, like, I'm in good company, And so, so that's what I'm going to do with my little bit of few dollars. Yesterday I had like $12 in my PayPal account from the painting. So I bought advertising, to promote one of my blog posts. And so women, we can do this, and it might seem like, I just need this amount or whatever. Like, you don't need money. I mean, you do need money for your message. Like, I need money for my message for Mermaid Junkie Academy. Like, how I'm going to back Mermaid Junkie Academy is that I want to sell all my books. I want to sell my line of stationery things, like for all the workshops and stuff that I would have for women. I want to have like a mercantile, kind of Mermaid Junkie mercantile, where I sell like essential oils, and everything has branding, like a Martha Stewart kind of. I want to have my organizational things, because I'm, have a certification in that. And that's always been something that I've loved, especially with having 4 kids. You need an organized house, right? Your house is your abode. It's your underwater castle. It's your, it's where you create everything in your life. Your home really means a lot. People don't think like, it's just an apartment. It's just this or whatever. No, your house is essential to, it represents, just like what your clothes represent, your house represents that as well. And so that's a difficult thing for me right now, is that status of, my house is in, not in upheaval as far as like filthiness. No, it's very, very clean. However, there's, walls ripped out, there's carpets ripped out, there's concrete floors, there's holes, where where things need repaired. There's doors that are there's no doors, and there's kitchen cabinets that need repaired and things of that nature. Now, I could go and do that, and I could mend and take care of my house. But what I'm doing right now is I have to solely stay focused on my business, because ultimately I have to be able to figure out a way for me to get my message out, to be able to at some point make money. I'm not making any money except off of my paintings. And so just remember, women, that, and men, but remember that there's always a way for you to, if you can do what you love, even though I haven't been getting paid for over 5 years doing this channel, not one penny, not even on, the only way I've been getting paid is that through my design or whatever. Yeah, I had a couple of celebrity clients, like John Gruden, his wife Cindy. Like, I did work for her and John, and did stuff like decorating and stuff for John's office when he still lives here in Florida, but now that he's with the Raiders, I'm sure they're going to move. But I've done stuff and made good chunks of money, and had I have known like where I would be right now for like wanting my book published and stuff, maybe I would have saved that money, but I spent it all on the cottage. And because that was when Jeffrey and I were getting married, so I was buying things like, we need a trash can, and we need sheets and stuff. So I was buying those necessities. It wasn't like a lot of stuff that was like, I want to buy that pillow and that comforter, and no, I take that back, I did buy a comforter. But yeah, do you see what I'm saying? Like, I would have spent that money a little bit differently, but everybody learns in life, and that's okay. And I know that there's more money that will come, because the more you put out into the universe, the more you get back. And so if I'm sending out wonderful, lovely things, then I'll get wonderful, lovely things back, right? And I hope that you'll come along with me. And I'm quite curious if this is going to seem kind of boring to some people. But to me, now if I was someone that was, okay, let me just explain something. Have you ever noticed that some of the biggest creators, excuse me, in life that have done massive things for their careers and things of that nature, it's because there was a lack of what they wanted, right? So basically the lack of me not finding someone that's chronologically sending out their journey of entrepreneurship where you're really starting over, right? Like, this isn't like me starting over and like, oh, my ex-husband's giving me alimony so I won't ever get remarried, you know? I had friends like that were divorced for 7 years and they wouldn't, and I said, why aren't you getting married? You're fully in love with this person and he seems to make you happy and you've been divorced and you guys have been dating for a couple of years. Why don't you just marry him? And she said, no, because I'm not going to allow my ex-husband to have his way, and I don't want to give up my alimony. And I just thought, wow, some things people will do. And I mean, that's no judgment on my part towards her, but I would so much rather, my opinion is I would be so much rather happy if I was living my own life, because that comes into so many dynamics. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you're, that's just a lot of stuff, even more stuff that you have to heal from. You know what I mean? Like, I realized I wasn't going to get any money from my ex. And so I was just willing to walk away for my own freedom and sanity, to not have to feel like in the end, this person is going to be able to come back and say, and it's a pride issue. Yeah, I know it's total ego on my part, but I would rather have the sense of peace and tranquility within my spirit than to ever have to have worried about every month this person's sending me money and then there's resentment and hatred and he's pissed because I'm taking his stuff. And, you know, regardless of whether I feel like that's kind of, I thought when you get married that was kind of like what's yours is mine, but that's not how it works, you guys. Just know that, like, and you might think, oh, well, my ex or my husband to be, they would never, oh, my foot's asleep. Oh, they would never do that. Let me just preface that when it comes to divorce or it comes to, you know, heartache and things like that nature, don't ever have an expectancy that you're going to get something. For one thing, you shouldn't expect anything, which I shouldn't have, but I did. And so that's okay. And I'm not blaming myself because I expected that, like, oh, okay, I helped take care of, no, I literally didn't help. The only thing that my ex did most of the, I mean, I was the den leader. I was the scoutmaster. I was the one that helped my boys to get their eagles. Okay. It was not my ex. It was me. It was me there all the time. I raised the shit out of my kids, okay? And so I thought that I would have gotten something. I didn't even get a pat on the back. You did a good job, Raquel. All I get now, even to this day, is nothing. Nothing. I don't get, you were a phenomenal mother. You know, raised our kids to be independent. You did this. You gave them good self-esteem. I don't get any of that. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm not sitting there saying all of this stuff like, oh, poor Raquel. Once again, no, I'm not. I'm just saying that I'm sharing everything with you, ladies, when, you know, you're expecting, if you expect things to go down a certain way. Now, mind you, in the whole scheme of things, I've had girlfriends that have divorced their husbands for whatever, you know, infidelity, whatever the reasons were, right? Years and years, being married 14, 17, 20 something years. And it was not smooth at all. And it still's not smooth, you know? I don't have hatred or anything towards my ex. I don't really have, I have like a blanketed, it's kind of interesting that I don't have really any raw emotions towards this person. No love loss or anything like that. Like, I wish him well, you know, in life. Just like I wish my neighbor well. I mean, I don't know. It's just an interesting thing. And, you know, maybe I'll share more about that in other clips and stuff. But, like, isn't this beautiful, you guys? I mean, like, Florida is just so beautiful. You know, I really love living here. I always wanted to come back near the beach, you know. And so, I think I'm going to start going to the beach and just shooting a lot of video there too, because of course a mermaid wants to be near the beach, right? My hair, you know how, like, when you guys use, do you guys use oils, essential oils? So, like, when you use essential oils, you always, like, if you have leftover, you always go like this to your hair or whatever. And so then it's like you, your hair gets oily because, you know, there's a lot of humidity here in Florida. Anyway, I'm getting off the subject. But another exciting thing, okay, is it's on April 1st, but it's not an April Fool's, is that I am launching my new podcast. Are you so excited? I mean, if you don't have enough of me already, I'm going to give you podcasts. So I'm going to start it on April. It's going to launch April 1st. It's not April Fool's, but it's called Mermaid Junkie Radio, and it's all about my journey. Sometimes I'll interview the gardener, but it's mostly about our spiritual lives, mind, body, spirit, like everything that I'm doing for Mermaid Junkie Academy. I want to get this message out because I want to have these beautiful schools. Like, I've started designing it. You guys, you know how I know I have like some background in architecture, and so I've begun designing the plans for like the kind of replica of what I want Mermaid Junkie Academy to look like. And so, like, I'm so excited. Like, I want to have, you know, these land developers that I'll find land in these different places, you know, in Florida and California and North Carolina and all of that. And then what I'll do is it'll look like a little place out of Europe, little cobblestone. It's going to be little, but it's going to be big in a sense that it's a school, right? But it's going to look like a little beautiful 18th century cottage. And it'll have underground pools that will be like lifelike, salt water, that's where the girls will train and all that. And I just think that someone needs to take this idea for like skateboarding and, you know, fly fishing and, I mean, all of these different things, and create these niched out schools in our country. And you guys, if we could do this, if we could all get together and use the money, that is not a lack of money, because I know the money is out there. It's like floodgates. If someone gets a hold of this idea, like what I'm doing, what I have done, like the curriculum that I created for Mermaid Junkie Academy, like, it's mind, body, it's everything. It's all basically on the right side of a child's brain to help a child like learn self-esteem, self-worthiness, self-awareness when they're young. Like, this is paramount. This is an educational revolution. This is what I wanted when I was young, because I sucked balls at school. The only thing that I ever made a decent grade in was handwriting, because you guys know that I loved to write. Handwriting, I excelled in. Reading, I excelled in. Every other thing was crap. I did horrible. Art classes, every time I took an art class, I made straight A's, A pluses, you know, and I would always want to take that. But that was an extra class. Like, that was an elective. It wasn't even of like a full-blown class, where my schools will be all about the art. That's the only way kids learn. I'm telling you, now, I'm not saying that kids don't learn in an educational atmosphere in that kind of square-boxed mentality, but I don't fucking live in a box. I live in a triangle. And so my triangle is like this, and that's what we do. I want to squeeze out of that. That's what Amy Winehouse said one time. She goes, I'm in a triangle. And so you want to teach children. Children will learn. Children will want to grow their own food. Like, that's everything. It's hands on deck. Like, hands on deck, you guys, for Mermaid Junkie Academy, is that these girls will live a very healthy lifestyle, But part of their schooling is learning gardening. Part of their schooling is going to go out, and at lunchtime, you're going to get your food out of the garden, and you're going to prepare it and bring it in, and we're going to can it, and we're going to do all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it sounds old school, like I'm taking it back old school. But the only way that children will learn self-awareness, self-love, self-worthiness is to teach them, right alongside, teach them how to do this stuff early on, because that empowers a child's mind. When you give a child, like, what is that famous quote? Give a person a fish and you feed them for a day. Teach them how to fish and you feed them for a lifetime. That's what it does. It not only feeds them literally, physically, but it feeds them emotionally and socially and psychologically, and I mean in every aspect, spiritually. And so, like, I have spent my life learning this stuff and doing, testing on my children. Yeah, they were basically guinea pigs when I was doing this. But I know that that's what creates a beautiful mind for a child once they get adult. Because you can't it's very difficult to go back into a child or an adult. Do you see what I'm saying? It's difficult to change an adult, as it's much more easy to teach a child that way, and then they grow up and then they have all of that stuff. And then they're very well built. The foundation is solid as a rock, right? You put an adult on a shaky foundation because they haven't had that when they were young. They were dealing with like trauma, being, okay, am I going to be physically abused? Am I going to be sexually molested tonight when I go to sleep? Like, I'm talking about like massive stuff that I'm talking about here that is revolutionary to get into the minds. Like, this is what we need, is for all of us to come together as a nation. And how I'm going to do that, I'm just going to keep putting it out into the universe, keep putting it out, the message in my message in a bottle. That is my message in a bottle. And I know something's going to flip. Something's going to happen. I don't know what, and I don't care how long it takes. I will freaking do this for 10 years and never hear a peep from anyone, but I'm going to keep doing it, and I'll keep grinding it out. Because if anything, even though I had a crappy childhood, my mother did the best she could with trying to give me a decent, like, she kept me in church, which, regardless of however I feel about religion now, it gave me a good basis for a strong sense of there was nothing I could not do. My mother used to always say that. Now, she didn't necessarily believe it on her own, which is a disheartening thing, because I really wish she would have. But I knew she had it in her. I knew that she probably at some time in her life maybe have wished someone would have been that cheerleader for her, and she never got it. And that was that she always used to say, Raquel, there is nothing you cannot do. There is nothing you cannot do. But she didn't do it for herself, and that was what was always kind of like confusing to me. And so I'm doing it. I'm doing it because regardless, I took that and I ran with it. So even though it took me 24 years to get out of a marriage and to realize all these different things, life has a way of working things out the best that it's meant to be. And I know that because my children never struggled with not having parents that were together when they were young. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing for anybody else. I'm just saying that, I'm saying that I would rather women get out of marriages if they're terrible, if they're disheartening and they're creating such a sense of sadness for us women that it's keeping you down. Yeah, I think you should take your kids and go. Or if you can't take your kids, that you should go. So I'm not one to sit there and say that I'm going to say like everything that everybody else says. I'm going to say what I truly believe, and that is living an authentic life. And if that means leaving a dick-ass husband that you really know that it was 5 years too late, you should have gotten out 5 years, but you still haven't done it, yeah, I'm going to be the one to say you should be doing it. And I say it because I freaking love you guys so much. I say it because, I wanted someone to be there for me, and no one was there for me. And that was a good thing, because now it's taught me to be so massively, emotionally, and financially independent that I don't need anyone. I don't need anyone's opinion of me. I don't need anyone for anything. I will make it on my own. If I have to figure out a way to do it on my own, I will figure it out. I'm not relying on anyone else to come and rescue me. I don't need rescuing. I will rescue myself. And that is one of the paramount things that I have learned in my life, is that you don't need anybody to rescue you in life. You need to rescue you. And I would just, if I can just, you know, send that message out so much. Like, I will do it until it's drilled into you guys' brain, that we have to rescue ourselves emotionally, financially, spiritually, physically, you know, to take care of our own health. You have to do it yourself. And that's the only way you'll appreciate and respect anyone in life or anything, is that if you've done it yourself, you can't blame anyone either. There's no one to blame. You can only blame yourself if you didn't do it, you know? And so anyway, so I'm off to go to the dollar store to go get my calendar. So what I'll do today is I'm going to then go back to the house, and I've been feng shuiing, like using on my schooling, you know, and stuff. And I think I posted this, like I have like allergies, you guys know that, but yeah, I've been feng shuiing my office and setting up it in all ways, you know, to be conducive to, you know, my productivity and stuff. And so I'm starting on my second book of A Mermaid's Transformational Tale. Basically, it's my voyage back to self-love is what the title of it is, which I think it's beautiful. I mean, it's, instead of chapters, I'm using scale 1, scale 2, and it's like a hands-on deck kind of thing, book about how to actually, you know, begin to find self-love and all that. It's kind of like a little educational book in itself, like a little workbook, you know. And so I give you all these metaphors about like when I was a mermaid, because anyway, that's a whole nother thing, because I'm already an hour into this video. So but anyway, I wanted to share that with you. I'm so excited. I hope you guys come along with me. Oh my gosh, is this so exciting? I get to see you guys every day. I hope you comment and leave me messages and stuff. And I don't want to hear crickets, you guys. Okay, so please swim to the top and leave me a comment. All right, I love you so much. I'm yours until my next swim. Ciao.